Some of the characteristics of intellectual disabilities, one of the clearest benchmarks is having that IQ of 70 or below. Another is having impairments in memory that can be short-term, long-term, or working memory. There also is looking at whether generalization is there, whether generalization is applying, and that's applying one topic to another, or that may be outside the classroom setting, working with money in the classroom setting, and then being able to understand money when they're making a transaction out in the real world, and making sure that those connections are happening. There isn't a clear guideline on motivation from person to person. There isn't. Everyone with intellectual disabilities are way ahead in motivation or way behind. There isn't a clear-cut rule with that. But people with intellectual disabilities tend to be externally motivated by people. So teachers can really have a huge piece of that self-motivation our students have by encouraging that and giving them that positive attention that they do find to be so motivating. Adaptive behavior. We touched on this at the very beginning. It's one of those key parts of identifying intellectual disabilities, and it is a huge piece of that puzzle. It is conceptual, social, and practical skills that people learn and perform. So breaking that down, the conceptual skills, the language, reading, writing, money, all of those concepts that need to be understood to really be able to function well in the world independently. Social skills, including rule following, self-esteem, having responsibility and accountability. Practical skills, daily living, occupational, making sure their home environment is safe. Having those adaptive skills is really something that people with intellectual disability can have limitations in. When they look at what a limitation means in terms of whether a student would score where they are missing and having a limitation in one of those adaptive areas, it would be where they are at least 2 standard deviations below the mean on one of the 3 types, or an overall score that is lower with a standardized test that's built to measure these conceptual, social, and practical skills. I also think it's important to point out this little video that's in the corner. Please do click on it. It's just a few minutes long, and it really uses the same language as what we've been using in identifying intellectual disability and some of the characteristics, but for those visual learners, it can really make a few connections, and I found it to be a really helpful piece of information.